Starlight Billy isn't just your average rupture DPS, he's one of the flashiest to ever do it, and that's not all either, he does a surprising amount of damage too. With this, today I'll be breaking down why Billy is actually still worth considering even with 3.0 right around the corner, and if you choose to pull him, how you'll build him, how he plays, and everything you need to know about him so that you can make him strong. As a reminder, footage from today's video will come from the creator beta server, so things are subject to change. Like, comment, and subscribe if you learned something from today's video, and without further ado, let's get straight into it. Starlight Billy's gameplay loop revolves around consistently attacking enemies and utilizing his kit to build up his unique resource. Once he has enough though, he consumes this to unleash powerful attacks, and this is pretty familiar to anyone who's played other DPSs in Zenless. That said, his playstyle does feel pretty familiar to those who have played XUAN and Idhari in terms of the pacing, losing HP, and dealing lots of damage sort of aspect. Now let's take a moment to break down Starlight Billy's kit and why his damage is actually pretty wild. Billy's special resource is called Determination, and he gains it in three main ways: through passive regeneration over time, by attacking enemies with each attack generating a different amount, and through specific actions like triggering a block, performing a perfect dodge, and using EX special, cool wheelie, or executing a chain attack, all of which grant additional determination. This can later be consumed and used to then hold down his basic attack to launch a laser beam attack that deals a lot of damage. Billy's core passive gives him the typical rupture sheer damage conversion, and upon entering the battlefield, he starts with 60 adrenaline. When his HP is above 25% though, he can use his EX special to consume his own HP and trigger drive suppression, increasing his own crit damage by 90%. If his HP falls below 25% though, he instead takes 50% reduced damage. That said, Billy generates determination with his core passive by attacking enemies and passively again over time. He also gains additional determination when using cool wheelie, as we mentioned previously, performing a chain attack, triggering blocks, or executing perfect dodges, with perfect dodges specifically granting 3 determination every time that you do it. He can also store up to a total of 120 of this unique resource, and once he has at least 100, holding the basic attack button will consume it to unleash basic attack full throttle Starlight. Additionally though, hitting enemies with his basic attack, dodge counter, EX special, high traction wheels, or rocking footwork will also restore a small amount of HP to keep him sustained and healthy throughout a fight. His additional ability activates when paired with a stun, defense, or support agent, and this will grant 1 stack of Starlight when he lands the 4th hit of his basic attack, uses EX special, cool wheelie, performs a chain attack, or casts his ultimate up to 2 times. But though this may seem familiar to original Billy's additional ability, each stack will instead increase the damage of basic attack, full throttle Starlight, his EX specials, his chain attack, and his ultimate by 20%, not just one of his singular abilities. Billy's basic attack is a 4-hit combo that deals physical damage, and after the 4th hit, you can press his EX special to immediately trigger drive suppression, consuming 50% of his HP. If he's hit during this though, he will instead recover a small amount of HP. Basic attack full throttle Starlight becomes available when he has at least 100 determination though, and holding the basic attack button will consume this resource, allowing him to charge forward with his motorcycle before firing a laser beam that deals massive physical damage. Now, moving on to his special attacks, Billy has 2 that you actually need to pay attention to, which is drive suppression and run wild. Drive suppression is triggered when his HP is above 25%, and with it, he consumes 16% of his HP and crashes his motorcycle into enemies, dealing physical damage. If he's attacked shortly after using it though, he triggers a block that negates the damage and restores 5 determination. After a successful block though, or once drive suppression continues for a short while, this will chain into EX special, cool wheelie. Run wild is automatically triggered if he's interrupted while riding his motorcycle, and with it, he will kick his bike into enemies, dealing physical damage, and then can immediately follow this up with a dodge counter. Next, we have his EX specials, of which he has 3: cool wheelie, high traction wheels, and rocking footwork. As mentioned earlier, cool wheelie is triggered when drive suppression reaches its max duration, or after successfully triggering a block, and when it hits enemies, Billy restores 8 determination. This is kind of a lot. If he has enough adrenaline though, pressing the EX special will chain this into rocking footwork, otherwise once the animation ends, it will transition into run wild. High traction wheels is activated by holding down the EX special button, and with it, Billy slams his motorcycle into enemies, dealing physical damage while restoring 30% of his HP. Lastly though, rocking footwork is triggered after using cool wheelie if Billy has enough adrenaline, and by pressing or holding the EX special button, he performs a combination attack with his motorcycle and hand cannon, dealing physical damage and restoring 15% of his max HP upon use. Billy's assist and dodge are pretty similar to other Zenless agents, allowing him to evade, counterattack, and enter onto field. However, his kit does include several unique interactions that set him apart in this sense. When entering via quick assist, he fires his cannon arm to deal physical damage, and if his HP is above 25%, this action is replaced by drive suppression instead. After triggering a perfect dodge though, his dodge counter will also restore 10% of his max HP on hit and allow him to immediately chain into the 4th hit of his basic. During drive suppression though, holding or dragging the dodge button will let him drift on his motorcycle, granting a brief perfect dodge window and also looking really cool, but continuing to hold this extends both the drift and the duration of drive suppression, and when it reaches its max duration, this will automatically transition into EX Special Cool Wheelie. If it ends early though, this will instead chain into Run Wild. Lastly, his dodge counter can trigger upon a perfect dodge during dodge through the galaxy, and this causes him to spin on his bike and deal physical damage to nearby enemies, then automatically follow up with EX Special Cool Wheelie. Now, while a lot of what I just mentioned is kind of flashy, his chain attack is extremely valuable as it deals massive physical damage while granting him 15 determination. This makes double chain attacking on Billy especially effective as it improves his resource generation and allows him to use his held basic attack sooner. Lastly, Billy's ultimate is straightforward, deals lots of damage, and is extremely flashy as he flies into the air and delivers a flying kick that deals massive physical damage, and honestly, this is an animation that I could probably watch 100 times over. For his skill priority, you can start by upgrading his core skill, EX Special, and Chain/Ultimate equally, as these make up the bulk of his damage, but following this you can invest in his basic attack and then level his assist and lastly his dodge. Now regarding Billy's combos and gameplay goals, his aren't even super complicated in concept or in execution, though this can definitely change and depend on the fight, as even trying to simply fit in blocks or timed special attacks can sometimes be hard if the boss has an irregular or RNG attack pattern. That said, what Billy does before a stun window is otherwise pretty straightforward. Special attack to block attacks, EX Special Cool Wheelie, special attack Run Wild, dodge counter and press basic attack, or EX Special and use rocking footwork. After all this though, you can also use your held basic attack if overcapped on determination on Billy, but the goal here is of course to generate as much determination as you can, and when needed, unload said resource using Billy's charged laser when necessary, and otherwise, Billy's combo is pretty fluid and not super strict. Things do get a bit more complicated with his stun combo, though again, what Billy does during said window is pretty similar to what Yidhari or XUAN would do too. EX Special with your support/stun agent right before the boss is stunned for your drive disc buffs, and this includes things like King of the Summit or Moonlit Lullaby. Swap to Billy and hold his basic attack, trigger stun with another agent, activate Billy's chain attack, cancel the rest of the chain with Billy, perform Billy's EX Special, trigger stun with another agent, perform Billy's second chain attack, use Billy's ultimate, and then use Billy's held basic attack to end the combo. To be clear, if you need to drop one of these chains, you can, especially if you need to fit in something like Dailin's forced ultimate, but this of course depends on the character and the team that you're running with Billy. Now let's move to how you'll build Starlight Billy, starting with his W engine. Billy's signature Starlight Rider faceplate is by far his best in slot option, and also it's just his head. It provides 30% HP as its main stat, while its passive grants a 20% crit rate increase. Additionally, using a special attack increases his sheer damage by 10%, stacking up to 2 times. Now, this is obviously his best option, but as for alternatives, Qingming Birdcage and Benue's signature are solid limited W engine options. Both provide the same 30% HP main stat and 20% crit rate increase, but Billy of course can't utilize these secondary passives nearly as well, which unfortunately means that they are still about 12% worse than his signature. Another option is the event engine Cauldron of Clarity, and this is also a decent alternative too, and as an A rank engine, it provides 25% HP main stat, and its passive increases Billy's damage by 4% whenever he uses an EX Special, stacking up to 3 times. At max stacks, this also grants an additional crit rate increase, and this makes the engine around 15% worse than his signature. Lastly though, Radio Wave Journey and Puzzle Sphere are also technically usable if no other better options are available. However, Radio Wave Journey is a battle pass weapon, which makes it less accessible to most players, while Puzzle Sphere's attack percent mean stat makes it okay, but definitely not nearly as suitable for Rupture agents like Billy, who definitely scale better with HP percent. With this makes Puzzle Sphere and Radio Wave Journey around 25 and 22% worse than his signature. Moving on to Billy's drive disc options, his best 4-piece set is one clear option, Yunquei Tails, which is standard for Rupture agents. Its 2-piece effect increases his HP, which helps with the scaling, and the 4-piece effect grants him stackable crit rate whenever he uses an EX Special, Chain, or Ultimate, with each stack providing 4 crit rate up to a max of 3 stacks. At full stacks, this also increases his sheer damage by 10%, and as for 2-piece options, Billy has a lot of options. He can use Branch and Blade Song, Woodpecker Electro, Bunny in Wonderland, Fanged Metal, or even something like White Water Ballad, but ultimately a stronger set of subset rolls on a disc will matter more than forcing a specific set with poor stats. As for main stats, you'll prioritize crit damage or crit rate in slot 4, physical damage bonus or HP percent on slot 5, and HP percent on slot 6, but as for substats, you should focus on crit rate and crit damage first, followed by HP percent, then flat HP. In terms of stats that you'll be aiming for though, you should look for around 18,000 HP, 150 crit damage, and anywhere between 50 and 60% crit rate when using 4-piece Yunquei Tails alongside his signature, allowing him to reach close to 100% 100% crit rate in combat. Now, as we move to Billy's teams, a quick reminder that I have a whole video dedicated to Starlight Billy's recommended teams, his partners, and how they perform, but with this out of the way, here are the highlights of what to expect with Billy. In a stun and support setup, Billy reaches his highest performance when paired with strong enablers like Dylan, Lucia, or Astra Yao. With this, the Billy, Dylan, and Lucia team stood out as the best performer, achieving a 36,700 in shield defense and 44,200 in deadly assault, making it the most consistent and honestly strongest choice. Replacing Lucia with Astra Yao, of course, did lower this scoring to 33,900 and 39,600, but it was still very strong. Meanwhile, Billy alongside Trigger and Lucia was also very strong too, reaching a 31,400 and 36,200, offering another strong performance even despite being used with a different sort of setup. In general, having a stun and support is honestly one of the most comfortable ways to play Billy though. However, that's not the only way that you could play him, as now we should talk about his double support teams. For double support teams, Billy, Lucia, and Astra Yao was the best in this category with a 32,000 in shield defense and a 39,200 in deadly assault, offering a pretty strong balance in both game modes. Billy, Pan Yinhu, and Lucia was also pretty decent with a 29,500 in shield defense and 36,700 in deadly assault, maintaining this pretty strong performance across double supports. But lastly, if you were curious, Billy, Pan Yinhu, and Astra also reached a 25,300 and 32,000 in Shiyu and deadly assault respectively, making it the lowest performing option here, but still very impressive, especially since these last two options were not named Lucia or Dylan. Now, in terms of free-to-play setups though, Billy was definitely still strong with accessible teammates, and this meant that Billy, Pan Yinhu, and Kaleda, for instance, was pretty strong, achieving a 23,000 in shield defense and 28,000 in deadly assault, making it one of the most impressive non-limited options here, again, as all you needed is Billy alongside Kaleda and Pan Yinhu. Alternatively, Billy with Pan Yinhu and Lucy was weaker, but of course this lacked any real S ranks aside from Billy, and this scored in the 21,700 in shield defense and 25,500 in deadly assault, offering a lower performance but definitely more free-to-play accessibility. Now, the unfortunate reality though is that neither of these teams was able to achieve an S rank clear in shield defense, at least with the setup that I had, but I'm sure that with enough practice, higher rolls on your substats, and with a bit more optimization in terms of the rotation, you could definitely get there. I just didn't have enough time to do so. Now let's move to Starlight Billy's Mindscape. His first Mindscape allows him to start with full adrenaline upon entering battle, and hitting enemies with an EX special will enable his attacks to ignore 18% of their physical res. Billy's second Mindscape increases the damage of his basic, EX special, and ultimate, and additionally using his EX special or hitting stun enemies with drive suppression will then grant him one stack of turbocharged with only one stack allowed at a time. Turbocharged enables a follow-up with Cool Wheelie, which then deals increased damage after drive suppression is used. His fourth Mindscape is pretty simple, increasing his crit damage, stacking up to 2 times whenever he uses drive suppression, but additionally when his HP falls below 35% while off field, he'll now passively regenerate HP. Finally, for Billy's sixth Mindscape, this increases the sheer damage of his ultimate and basic attack. This also allows him to gain 1 stack of Brilliant Starlight, up to a max of 6 stacks when landing the 4th hit of his basic attack using Cool Wheelie, or when performing a chain attack. When he uses this ultimate or basic attack though, 2 stacks are consumed, with each stack causing the final hit to deal additional physical damage equal to 100% of his sheer force. Now, when considering Billy's Mindscapes from a value perspective, the M1 and M2 are pretty decent at 14 and 12% damage increases respectively, and if you're deciding between M1 and his signature, the signature does generally offer better value overall, especially when you consider the 75-25 versus 50-50 trade-off. That said, his M6 is also kind of on the underwhelming side, increasing his overall damage by only 11%. Lastly, let's move to Starlight Billy's pros and cons. He does share W engines or disk drives that he can use and share with other Rupture agents. He's relatively easy to play. His best sets are ones that players have already likely farmed in the past. He has very flashy gameplay, and he feels great to play and scores highly against Defiler and Thrall at the moment. That said, for cons, he does only really have Defiler and the Thrall as his favorable matchup right now. His long animations can feel somewhat clunky, and he is arriving just before 3.0, where we aren't really sure what will be strong or what bosses will show up. Now, I originally already gave thoughts on Billy and whether he's worth pulling in my team's video on him after having tested several teams and seen what his performance was compared to other Rupture options, but to be honest, my thoughts really haven't changed much since that video. Billy is a character that I feel deeply for, as he's really what I find to be the heart and soul of Zenless Zone Zero. He's goofy, animated, and really captures the street or jet set radio aesthetic that I was originally captivated by during Zenless's launch and have personally been a fan of for years. And with this, this, it's hard to suggest skipping Billy, as he's again what I really imagine Zenless was originally designed to be, a silly but very original, enjoyable game. And as the anniversary for Zenless and 3.0 is around the corner, I'm reminded of why I enjoy and love playing this game, for its uniqueness, the lovable personalities, and for the characters who aren't afraid to be different and stand out in a sea of thousands of gacha characters at this point. Now, unfortunately, despite all of what I've just said, I do live in reality, and I get it. Billy is helpful to your account if you're missing a rupture DPS or if you're struggling against physical bosses, but as this competition includes a Void Hunter level XUAN and an actual Void Hunter in Guang, and that's even before accounting for the might of the 3.0 agents who we've already seen teasers for, I get it. Billy might not be for everyone, so of course at the end of the day, if you don't feel like pulling for him, that's okay. However, I do think that despite being one of the last agents before a major 3.0 release, Billy has some real love, care, and value put into him, and you can see it through his animations and the way that you're supposed to play him. And so I personally will be pulling for him, but feel free to make your own decision. That's it for everything you need to know about Starlight Billy though. Thanks again for watching. I wish you all great luck on your pulls. Stay safe, stay healthy. Good night.